In ancient China, high in the hills, there was a Kuan Yin temple where incense never stopped burning. Every day, pilgrims climbed the stone steps to pray. The air was thick with smoke. Pine trees stood silent in the mist. Even the morning light felt muted, as if the world was holding its breath. Above the temple gate, on a dark wooden beam, a small spider spun a web. Day after day, it lived in the drifting incense, listening to countless wishes. I want love. I want success. I want my pain to end. The spider heard everything, and slowly, after centuries, it changed, not in body, in mind. The spider grew aware. It began to reflect. It began to understand suffering. After 1,000 years, something rare happened. The Buddha came to the temple. The courtyard grew still, as if even the smoke stopped moving. The Buddha looked up and noticed the spider on the beam. And the Buddha said calmly, "We have met under strange conditions. Let me ask you a question to see what your long practice has taught you." The spider trembled with joy. "Yes," it agreed, "ask." The Buddha asked, "What is the most precious thing in this world?" The spider thought for a long time, then answered, "The most precious things are what we cannot obtain and what we have already lost." The Buddha nodded, said nothing more, and left. Another 1,000 years passed. The temple remained, the prayers remained, the smoke remained. The spider continued to practice, silent, patient, watching humans come and go like shadows. Then the Buddha returned. "Do you remember my question?" the Buddha asked. "Yes," said the spider. "And your answer?" The spider replied confidently, "The most precious things are still what we cannot obtain and what we have already lost." The Buddha nodded, saying only this, "Think again." Then the Buddha left. Another 1,000 years passed, and one day wind rose. Not a gentle breeze, a hard wind. It swept through the temple gate and shook the trees, and it carried something tiny, something bright, a single dewdrop. The dewdrop landed in the spider's web. It trembled there like a jewel, clear, perfect, shining. The spider stared. For the first time in 3,000 years, it felt happiness. Not peace, not wisdom, happiness. The spider didn't want to eat the dewdrop. It wanted to keep it. It watched the dewdrop through the whole day as light changed around it. This, the spider thought, is the most beautiful thing I have ever held close. Then wind rose again, and the dewdrop was gone. The web was empty. The spider felt something sharp tear through it. Loss, loneliness, a pain that didn't belong to the body, a pain that belonged to attachment. At that moment, the Buddha appeared once more. The Buddha asked, "Now tell me, what is the most precious thing in this world?" The spider answered quickly, almost desperately, "The most precious things are still what we cannot obtain and what we have already lost." The Buddha nodded. "Very well," the Buddha said, "then I will grant you one human life." And the world turned. The spider was reborn as a noble daughter named Zhui. 16 years passed like a fast dream. Zhui became known for beauty and grace, but inside she carried something else, a restless hunger, a quiet obsession she didn't understand. Then one night, the emperor held a banquet in the imperial garden. Lanterns glowed among plum blossoms. A thin moon hung above silk curtains. Music floated over the water like mist. That evening, a young scholar named Gan Lu, the top scholar of the kingdom, recited poetry. His words were sharp, his mind was bright, his presence drew attention like a flame. Many young women watched him with admiration. But Zhui did not feel admiration. She felt something more dangerous. The moment she saw Ganlu, something inside her whispered, "This is it." Not destiny, not magic, just a sensation so strong it felt like truth. And that sensation did what all powerful feelings do. It demanded a future. That night, Zhui could not sleep, not because she was in love, but because love for her came with fear. A picture kept returning to her mind, a shining dewdrop, and then wind, gone. Days later, Zhui went with her mother to the Kuan Yin temple. The morning was cool, mist clung to the stone steps. Incense smoke drifted between pillars like pale ghosts. By coincidence, Ganlu arrived as well, escorting his own mother. They bowed, they prayed, they spoke polite words. Then, while their mothers sat talking, Zhui and Ganlu walked into the temple corridor. For a moment, Zhui felt warmth bloom inside her chest. He is here, right beside me. But that warmth lasted only a second, because the moment love arrived, fear arrived with it. Not because she thought Ganlu was the dewdrop reborn. She knew deep down the dewdrop was not a person. The dewdrop was a moment. And her heart had learned a habit. Whenever it touched something beautiful, it immediately imagined losing it. So Zhui forced herself to speak calm and careful, as if her voice could hold him in place. "Ganlu," she asked softly, "do you believe that happiness can be taken away at any time?" Ganlu slowed. A polite smile appeared, careful, practiced, but it did not reach his eyes. "Lady Zhui," he said, "admiration can make people confuse a feeling with a future." Then he stepped away. "And feelings," he added quietly, "often mistake a dream for real life." He turned and walked away without looking back. Just like wind. And Zhui stood frozen, not from heartbreak, from shame, because she realized something terrifying. She wasn't suffering because she had lost him. She was suffering because she was already grieving the loss that had not even happened yet. Soon, an imperial decree thundered through the palace. Ganlu was to marry Princess Feng, and Zhui was to marry the crown prince, Zishu. Zhoui's mind broke, not because she hated the prince, but because obsession makes the world narrow. When you want one thing badly enough, everything else becomes invisible. She stopped eating, stopped speaking, stopped living. Her room became quiet and cold. And as her life faded, Crown Prince Zishu came running. He knelt beside her bed, voice shaking. "The day I saw you at the banquet, I knew. I begged my father for this marriage. If you die, I have no reason to live." He drew his sword. In that instant, Zhoui's eyes opened wide, and the Buddha appeared in the room, silent as mist. The Buddha spoke, not harshly, not soft, just true. "Zhui, look clearly. The dewdrop was never a person. It was a moment that felt perfect. And you tried to build a life around a moment. You chased the wind and suffered when it moved on. Meanwhile, this one, another.
This one has been here the whole time, like a tree at the temple gate, watching, waiting, steady. Zhishu lifted the sword toward himself again. Zhoni moved. She grabbed the blade with both hands. Blood ran down her fingers. It cut deep. It hurt. And that pain woke her up, because the dewdrop was beautiful, but empty. The sword was sharp, but real. Zhoni looked at Zhishu. Ananali saw him, not as a replacement, not as a second choice, but as the solid ground beneath her feet. She held the blade and whispered, "Stop." Zhishu froze. Zhoni turned toward the Buddha, voice trembling but clear. "The most precious thing is not what I couldn't catch, and not what I lost. It is what I am holding right here." And the Buddha was gone. Zhoni released the blade. The prince's sword fell, and for the first time the room felt like air again. Later, when Zhoni recovered, she would understand the lesson fully. Some people spend their whole lives chasing a ghost. They fall in love with the wind. They worship the shine of a moment and mourn when it leaves. Meanwhile, they ignore the solid ground beneath their feet. So, if you are suffering today because of something you lost or something you couldn't catch, wake up. That was the dewdrop. The most precious thing is not the fantasy you were chasing. It is the life you are actually living. Right here, right now.